Okay, right. So, just wanted to make a quick video on what I believe to be the quote-unquote best sort of general build for Pixel Quest. It's going to be my first Pixel Quest video. Not sure if I'll do more. I'll see how this one goes. See my mushroom cheeks. um, so the item that I believe is sort of the best for a general playthrough, and not one that requires obviously a very specific sort of build. Would be the Piercer's Bow. The reason that I say this, first of all, the stat spread that I've got is the, I believe, most quote-unquote optimal in the game. I got this from the spreadsheet that was linked in one of NERP's videos, obviously for all your quest rewards and things to do there. So if we just take a look at the raw DPS with those stats and these items in play, if we can see, if we just run it along and see what we get. We can see that we get a figure of 1,000. Okay, now 1,000 DPS for any item just on its own is pretty damn good. But the reason I think it is the best sort of general build in the game is due to the fact of a triple synergy in a few items here. So we have the Toxic Bomb, okay, the Mushroom Bomb, and the Piercer's Flag. Now, the reason why I believe these items are synergized the best in the game. Okay, first of all, I'll show you. If you're just having a general playthrough and you swap to the Piercer's Flag, right, you can see on equip plus 70 health. So you can see that our cap goes up by 70, but our actual active health does not move at all. But what we can do to sort of mitigate against that. Now, this only works for the Mushroom Bomb, it doesn't work with the Totem. But what we can do is we can chuck this up onto ourselves, swap onto it, and then you can see the actual active health has increased. Now you may be asking yourself, okay, well that's all well and good. I can see how these two synergize, but how does that help me? Well, these two synergize, and these two synergize, and I'll show you why that is in a moment. If we just go down back to where the training dummies are, we can have a look at this in just one moment. Right, okay, so now the reason that this synergizes with this is because what you can do is you can activate this and you can get the hastened, the strengthened, and the rallied all at the same time. Now what I will say is you may be asking yourself, well, what about the equipment? Okay, you've got a Ring of Horrors on. Yes, I do. You don't need a Ring of Horrors. You can use an Adept Gauntlet. But you may be asking yourself, well, you've got Flag. Why aren't you using the Fire Helm? You get 15 dexterity for using that. Well, you don't actually get that. So if I do this and swap these over, okay, you can see my dexterity is plus 18. If I hit the rallied bonus, or if I click the flag rather, that would be plus 20 dexterity, so that would be plus 38. And then you'd expect obviously the 50% chance for the extra 15, so whatever 38 plus 15 is, I believe that is 53. So you'd expect plus 53, but for some reason, with the Piercer's Flag, the Fire Helm just doesn't work. If I press space here, you should see plus 38, and I know it says 50% chance, but I guarantee you I have sat here for so long testing this, it does not work. Either it's not actually 50%, or the interaction just doesn't work because you also get the dexterity on the hastened. I don't know why, but it just doesn't work. You can see I ran that again, you'd expect obviously, okay, maybe he didn't get it the first time, maybe he'll get it the second time, but no, it just simply doesn't work. So if you're running the Piercer's Bow, just leave the Fire Helm at home until they fix that. Just leave it at home. So yeah, I use a Ring of Horrors because, like I say, this is a general build. So I like to pivot between things like, the Snow King's Blade if I'm up close or behind a wall. And then, yeah, obviously pivot back into that. So I like to have a general sort of... I like to be able to multi-tool, so to speak. Again, you don't need Ring of Horrors if you are just going for the, the Piercer's Bow. An Adept Gauntlet will work completely fine. You can see plus 12 dexterity. Obviously, it's double the dexterity that the Ring of Horrors gets. But obviously, you supplement that with the 6 defense and the 6 attack, which is why personally I think it is the best item for this. Yeah, that's right. I shouldn't have that actually because I just swap that out. But the reason that the Piercer's Flag synergizes with the Toxic Fluid is because we can activate this, okay, and swap over. And then if we do a DPS check now, right, and then we stop firing because we'll probably end up running out the bonus in a second. So we can see an effective DPS of 1600. That is a 60% increase off of just using the Mushroom Bomb or the Toxic Fluid. I forget which one I was using. So you get the active from the Piercer's Flag, and you also get the Dexterity from the Toxic Fluid, which obviously supplements your damage even further. I believe it's the only spell that adds Dexterity. I may be mistaken. There could be more. I'd say it's probably better to do the Dexterity than it is to do Attack. Personally, I believe that Dexterity is just better than Attack anyway. When you have a weapon that scales off of the best stat in the game, I would say it just is, by design, just pretty broken. Now you may be asking yourself, okay, well you've shown the synergy between the Mushroom Bomb and the Piercer's Flag. What about the synergy between the Toxic Fluid and the Mushroom Bomb? Well, I'm very glad you asked. So if we go over here, have a look, and let's say we're going up to here. Okay, you can see we've got the Toxic Fluid equipped, which gives us more damage, and the Mushroom Bomb obviously, which gives us healing. So if we put the auto fire on, we can see we're going around, like, oh no, I've lost a bit of health, I need to do some healing. So we swap onto it, do some healing, and then immediately swap back. There's no delay between bomb swapping, so I can just sit here and do this for hours, and I'm never going to get any delay. So I can always swap between having more, offensive stats, and then to having to take a break, heal up, and then immediately swap back to the offensive stats. So you can see that that's how those two synergize. And then, of course, so these synergize together, and also these synergize together, and these synergize together. I've shown that, and then obviously, yeah. So they all synergize with each other, which is just quite inherently broken. I'll try to show you sort of a damage check in sort of a real world. The only downside to this build, is the 7-tile range on the Piercer's Flag. If you're not sort of, the best player in the game, and you feel like, oh, I'm a bit scared to fight the bosses. I don't like, having to dodge and weave, and I'm just not really that good at doing that. Well, then I would suggest maybe an Ahi's Amulet, an Ahi's Reaper or Scythe or whatever it's called. Obviously, just for the 12 effective range with the true damage, I think you get about 600 DPS. And obviously, supplementing that with almost double the range. So if you like to play a bit safer and you don't like to sort of weave in and out of projectiles like this, then by all means, go for something with a bit more range. But if you're looking for kind of the perfect balance where you do have quite a bit of range and you'd still like to do damage, I'd say this is absolutely the #1 build for you. I'll try to find a dungeon. I kind of want to run it solo. Let's just do an ice one. There was a fairy up there. I seem to have missed the ice one. If we just try and get ourselves into dungeon, I'll try to solo it so I can show you guys kind of the damage. So these are obviously, mid-tier dungeons. No one's sitting here saying, oh, these are too easy. I mean, a few people probably find them too easy. At this stage of the game, I'm finding them pretty easy. But that's very much due to my build. Serpent Catacombs, I would say, is probably the easiest of the mid-tier dungeons. If once you get the sort of projectile pattern down, it's one of the ones that I have true hitless. For the Spire, it's really good versus the Slicer. I don't know what they've done to the Slicer, but for some reason his health just melts. I think he might have kind of the lowest effective health of everybody in the game. Oh, not everybody in the game, but all of the heroes of the Spire. What was I going to say? Right, yeah. So you can see, just chopping this guy down. We've got a portal to the Arctic Palace. Let's check out the Arctic Palace. Oh god, which way is it? This way. Is that a treasure room? Don't think so. But yeah, you might be asking yourself, oh, well, what about armor? Why have you gone for the Slicer's armor? Obviously, you get the dexterity off that, which obviously very much supplements your damage output with obviously the Piercer's bow. And it gives you some nice sort of defensive options with obviously defense and speed. Speed for dodging the projectiles, and defense for if you do get hit. It's not the end of the world. So let's just go ahead and clear this dungeon out very quickly. Now, I like to have sort of my bombs alternating between, the 8th slot. I have the keybind set from 8 to E, so it's very easy for me to sort of press E as I'm running and going, and it's not that difficult. I'd recommend everybody else sort of do the same, um, just due to the fact that it's very difficult kind of to reach your 8 key on your keyboard a lot of the times. Um, so it's good just to sort of do that. So if we do this, set this up, probably should have shown the synergy off with the bomb there, but that's fine. It takes quite a bit of muscle memory to get used to swapping between actives and things like that. So if we do that, you can see he's coming in now. Right, just do a quick DPS check. You can see he's just getting melted down. Look how quickly that health just dropped. That's over 75% in like the matter of, I don't know, seconds. You can see we just got a frostbow from that. What do I drop for the frostbow? Health potions, I guess. I'll get them later. So you can see, this is just the sort of thing that's it just works really. You go with this build, you're not really going to go wrong. You saw me take quite a few hits in that. If I was running a zero defense build, I would have taken a lot more damage than that. I would have had to play a lot safer. So if you're not the greatest person in the game, I definitely recommend doing this sort of thing. So yeah, if you have any sort of ideas on what sort of builds are better than this, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll have a look through and I'll review them. I'm very much a big statistics and numbers guy, so I love having these sort of conversations. Um, if you think you can do better, by all means. So please, yeah, feel free to leave your inputs down below, and I'll get back to them. But in the meantime, hopefully I might make a few more Pixel Quest videos. But if I don't, in the meantime, have a nice day.